Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker, and today we're going to talk about newscaster Tomi Lahren, love bombs an MLB star. The reason why I say it's love bomb is because they started dating in February. So we're only about 6 months later, 7, 8, whatever it is. It's barely more than 6 months, and already she's caught herself a new fish. Now, many of you guys know Tomi got a little bit of a name for herself because when she separated, when she called off her previous engagement, she went on to basically call all men trash, and we're going to talk about it. But I wanted to talk about the love bombing aspect of this because this may not be a technical love bomb, but it's pretty close when you can get a pretty successful newscaster, which is this JP Arencibia. Let me see if I can pronounce that right. Arencibia. She gets him kind of hooked on, and he's like, oh, we're great partners and we're in love and everything else. And, you know, when you think you found your soulmate, especially only after 6, 8 months of dating, very rarely is it true. And most of the time it's when somebody comes along and they match what you need perfectly. Everything seems great. Everything seems wonderful. And you say, hey, you know something? Man, I'm in love, and I want this person to be with my side for the rest of my life. And I'm not saying necessarily that's happening in this case, but if you can get a decent-looking, you know, pretty popular guy who's in good shape, he's worth some good money, he was a former ball player, and just like that, he falls in love. And it was only April of 2020 she broke it off with her last guy. And, you know, that's one of the things we see all the time with women is they easily and mostly fail up. When something goes wrong for them and it doesn't work out for them, a lot of the times they fail up. And not that that's that shocking. So here's the thumbnail we're talking about. And we're going to talk about love bombing specifically, a little less about Tomi, but more about the love bombing aspect, because that's something that so many guys fall prey to, myself included. And if you're smart, it only happens to you once. But oftentimes guys will say, wow, you know, had that bad relationship. I thought it was good, but I've met another woman and she's even more perfect than the last one. And when that starts happening, usually the woman is faking being the perfect person for you and makes you fall in love and you think everything's great. And come to find out, it's oftentimes a pretty big lie. I mean, if this guy saw the rant that Tomi went on about how awful men are and most men and men are pigs and her friends can't find anybody, I did a video on that. You can look it up if you're interested, but I don't care about Tomi that much to talk about her. But I want to set up the stage so we can talk about this. So you see here, Tomi Lahren calls off engagement to fiance Brandon Frick. We are still best friends. And this is April 29th of 2020. So she had been married. I guess he gave her a big, big ring. And again, tall, good-looking guy, good shape. You know, again, she's a pretty woman, although I think she looked better before all her either plastic surgery or makeup or whatever it was. But she called it off. And then she goes on a rant that men are pigs. So more than likely, there was some sort of fallout. They didn't get into it, but nonetheless, this was only a year ago. And again, what happens when men fall into hard times? Well, you got to survive on your own. You lost your job? Good luck to you, man. You better find something quick. Can't pay your bills? Better find something quick. Better take a second job. Better work overtime. If you're a pretty woman and things go south for you, just wait around a little bit of time. You know, you'll have another suitor come her way and quote unquote save her. And this is the video here from Uproxx. Fox Nation host Tomi Lahren goes on a lengthy rant about how men are trash. And again, this was more than likely, you know, they went their separate. She says they called it off. Maybe he just realized, hey, she's not a very kind woman, or maybe she's narcissistic or selfish, or there might be something there that he caught on. He said, hey, we're out. And of course, to save public face, she may have said, I'm calling it off. Because if she had called it off with him, why would she go on this rant of men are trash? If she said, oh, no, maybe he cheated on her or something, I don't know. But anyway, that being aside, Here we have Tomi Lahren engaged to former MLB player JP Arencibia or Arencibia. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. They said Tomi Lahren's going to be a wife to former MLB player JP. What a crazy weekend in the sports world, as there were many things to celebrate on top of all the momentous sports memories that were created. Former MLB player JP, I'm going to have to try to say this again, Arencibia, and conservative talking head Tomi Lahren got engaged. The Bally Sports Florida MLB analyst and the political commentator both took to Instagram to make the announcement and share their excitement for the plunge. Yeesh.
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Yeah, so here's what's weird, right? This is already doomed to failure, and this is already weird. Why? Because it shows him on his knee proposing to her. And, of course, the dog's staring at the camera. So, you see it right down here in the corner. The little dog is staring at whoever's taking the photo. So this wasn't put on a tripod and put on a timer. Boy, how natural and genuine this moment was. So, of course, they had to capture themselves on media. More than likely, this is her idea. This is what women do, is they want to catch all these events. Like, oh, redo it again, do it again. I want to get it so I can post it and get validation on social media. You can see a bottle of champagne or wine on the counter with a bunch of glasses. So maybe somebody said, hey, we're going to have a party for this. Let's reenact it and take a photo. But this is what he writes. You make me the happiest man on the planet. I thank God for the greatest gift of my life. I can't wait to love and annoy you for the rest of our lives.
Is this a dead man, Doctor? Very dead, Mr. Spock.
Oh, dead man walking, dead man walking. Not going to turn out well for you. And here's another photo of him holding the box with maybe the ring in it and giving her a big hug. And she says, found my best friend and never letting him go. I love you more than anyone has ever loved anything. Here's to forever. They've only been dating 7 or 8 months, but already they're best friends and she loves him more than anything. Not good. Not good. I can tell you that right now. They say, not sure how many people are sending Tomi congratulations. She has a tendency to rub most people the wrong way. And, of course, more glamour shots of her. Here's them together. And she says, 29th birthday, charmed in Charleston. Team Tomi, Charleston birthday trip. Here's a warning sign. If you become a team with a woman and it's team her, that's not good. That is a warning sign right there. That means that she's thinking that she's the team and she's letting him join the team versus him being the team and she gets to join his team. Not a good sign. So anyway, there's that for you. And a couple of quick facts to know about the boyfriend here. He's an analyst. Basically they've been dating for however many months. And here's a photo of her probably without too much makeup, like without studio makeup. Like she looks okay. She's not a train wreck. So I don't know how old he is. She's 29, so she's trying to get that bag before she gets to the 30s and comes up on the wall and everything else. So let's talk about love bombing here. This is kind of the important part. Because, again, I don't know if she love bombed him, but the odds are heavily in the favor. If you're going to strap down a popular newscaster, sports newscaster, and former baseball player, odds are that it happened. But even if not, we're going to talk about it. It says all you should know about narcissistic love bombing. Learn why narcissists love bomb, their attachment style, and how to avoid them. Now, I have not read this article, but I pulled it up from Psychology Today just as kind of a backdrop and something to talk about. But here's the thing that I know happened to me. I met somebody, and it was kind of like, wow, you ride motorcycle? I love motorcycles. I've always wanted to own a motorcycle. Riding motorcycles is great. Oh, you love this. You love, I'm trying to think of another. I have lots of passions. Anyway, you love martial arts and you've done jiu-jitsu. I've always thought about doing jiu-jitsu or judo, and martial arts great. And I even have a gi, and I signed up for whatever. After a while, you're like, wow, they like this and they like this. And we have so much in common. and they love those things about me. And they often will say, man, I love that you're this, and I love that you're this. And you know what I love about you? And they'll want to talk to you a lot, and they'll send lots of kissy face emojis, and everything is always, wow, I'm so lucky to find you, and I can't believe what are the odds that we found each other? And you can find somebody where you do have that with them, and it is legitimate. But many times it's not, and you have to kind of keep your guard up and be aware of red flags. You've got to stretch the relationship out and see how long that goes for. Because and this is my experience, not what the article says, but I'm going to talk about that, and then we'll read the article. What my experience was that things start really well, and you're happy, and you get kind of sucked in, and you're feeling all warm and fuzzy. Everything's beautiful and wonderful. And then they start to pull away a little bit, or then they're not quite as on board, and they can criticize you a little bit. They start to do a little bit of criticism, but you think it's them being constructive because, wow, they really love you and you're amazing and there's so much about you that they want to get to know and you're perfect. So you say, okay, well, I want to get back to that really good place we had at one point, because at one point the feeling that I had with this person was amazing. It was so awesome. But I'm not feeling that anymore. So I'm going to try to get that feeling back. And so you start jumping through. At first, you're not jumping through hoops. At first, you're only stepping over little obstacles. And they'll basically reward you when you do something they like. They say, oh, I love the fact that you did this and you pay attention and thank you for doing that. And that's so great of you. And before you know it, those hurdles get a little bit higher and higher. And now you're starting to have to jump through hoops to try to win back the love that you once had, because she said that you were the person, that you were so loving, that you were so amazing. It's just that you're kind of doing this or you're kind of doing that. I don't really like it. And so before you know it, you're changing yourself to chase after that high that you had in the beginning of the relationship. The problem is it's never coming back. It never comes back. They've got the hook in you. You're like a fish, and they've got the hook in you, and they're just reeling you in, and then they discard, and then they reel you in and discard, and it keeps you in this perpetual state of imbalance. But it makes you also very emotionally attached to them, because you're always trying to chase that high at the beginning of the relationship. Now, once things go really south, the hard part is for a lot of people is to let go forever. Like, you're going to get your heart hurt. You're going to get crushed at some point. Now, it may come after marriage and kids. It may come after dating them for an extended period of time. It may come quickly. But at some point, you're going to get your heart broken. When that happens, the problem is a lot of people will go away from it. They'll walk away. They'll dust themselves off. They'll get over the hurt. They start moving on with their lives. And what happens? Here she comes again. You know, I've been thinking about it. You were right. I was wrong. We do have all these things in common. You're awesome. I screwed up. You're amazing. Let's get back what we have. And the love bombing starts all over again. And then what happens when you start getting back on, Team Lahren? What happens when you get back on her team again? It starts all over again. Once they've got you emotionally. And that emotional manipulation is what gets kind of narcissists to do this, because you're giving them that narcissistic supply. You're giving them love, you're giving them anger, you're giving them frustration, you're giving them all these things, and they revel in it, because what it's doing is it shows you really care about them. And that is what they need. They need to know you really care about them. Because if they really care about you, they don't want to be the only one in the relationship like that. And so all this strife kind of is validation, which is why if you don't feed back into it and you say, you know what, I've had enough of this, I'm done with it. They say, no, please, we can make this work. And you go, nah, forget it, I'm done. When they don't have control over you anymore, that's when you see them on social media or on Facebook or out in the real world with another boyfriend within 3 weeks, or a new fiance within 6 months or something. And they say, oh, this is the most amazing person ever. And because number one, it's to make you jealous. And number two, they need their next narcissistic supply. They need their next person to glam on them so they don't feel alone. And a lot of times this comes from childhood trauma. And this comes with not understanding what healthy love is about. And when this happens to you as a person, especially us guys, because we do want to we want to find that special woman and cherish her and protect her and provide for her. At least we did traditionally before nowadays where we know better. That's kind of ingrained in us. So when we start doing that and then it's yanked out from under us, it's very natural to think, is this something I've done? Did I do something wrong? Have I changed? What's going on to why she's pulling away from me? And this comes from usually either things that have happened in childhood or from bad training from parents. And this is the example I used in another video where I talked about this. But if you have a dog or a puppy, and whenever you say, I love you, you strike it, or you treat it poorly, or you don't feed it its dinner, or you're mean to it whenever you say, I love you, then when you get older, that dog understands love as a bad thing, as a punishment, as something that is not good. So when a healthy person says to the puppy or the dog, I love you, the dog would get afraid. The dog would get mean. It would get, because it knows what's coming. Well, in some cases, narcissistic people, their concept of love is screwed up. And if you genuinely do give them love, it scares them. It makes them nervous. It makes them think that it's conditional. It makes them think you're faking it. And they kind of weird out on you and they pull away. So let's read into this a little bit more and see what they say about it. It says, getting hit by a love bomb feels glorious. They lavish attention and affection and seems to answer our prayers. We've found our Mr. or Ms. Right, our soulmate, unsuspecting that we've been targeted by a narcissist. The bomber abruptly changes colors and loses interest, and our dreams come crashing down. The rejection is excruciating, especially at the height of our romance. It's a traumatic shock to our heart. We feel duped, betrayed, and abandoned. We're confused and try to make sense of the nightmare that was once a dream. What we thought was real was in fact a mirage. We search for answers, doubt, and blame ourselves, often losing trust in ourselves and the opposite sex. A person that loved bombed me, and I didn't know what it was, so fooled me. Let me switch it back over so you can read the article while I read it with me. A person that loved bombed me so fooled me that it made me question everything in my life. Like that I was so fooled, I was so tricked. I said, I don't know if I can actually trust anyone at all. Like this person is 100% not the person they were to me. They changed so much and so quickly that it blew my mind. Scared is not the right word, but it made me so leery of dating and relationships that I said, hold up, before I even get into anything with anybody else, I need to do some research and find out what this is, what fooled me, how I got suckered into it, what are the warning signs I should have seen, how to avoid this, and make sure that I put that into every faction of my life. Because if you don't, and this happens to you multiple times, it will crush your soul. They continue on. Sometimes partners are ghosted by their disappearing suitor or are dumped by text, email, or a call. If they're rejected in person, they're bewildered by the coldness of the narcissist who just recently expressed love and promised an amazing future together. They may discover they've been disposed of for a new prospect, cheated on, that's what happened to me, or two-timed all along, which is probably what happened to me. It's devastating and can be hard to let go because all of their memories are happy and wonderful. It takes time to accept the truth of who the bomber really was. Denial protects victims from the painful truth that the relationship was not really what they imagined. Right, and that's, like I said, they lie about who they are. They lie about how much they care about you. They get you kind of suckered in, and then once you're in, you may either see their true colors because you may have caught them cheating. They may just bail on you and get somebody else, and you're left wondering, like, what happened? What did I do? Or it may be a slow pulling away to where you're desperately trying to grab them and bring them back and say, hey, remember what we had in the beginning? I really like that. I want that again. But they drift. They continue on. Love bombing and narcissistic supply. Research shows that love bombers have low self-esteem and are often narcissists, although not all narcissists are love bombers, and some non-narcissists are. Despite a facade of confidence and independence, narcissists feel insecure and empty. They require constant reassurance or narcissistic supply from all those around them. But like vampires, it's never enough to fill their emptiness or satisfy their hunger. Rather than confidence, they actually fear that they're undesirable. Their sense of self is determined by what others think of them. They try to control what others think to feel better about themselves. Thus, love bombing is a means to seek attention, boost their ego, and fulfill self-enhancement needs for sex, power, and control. When they're depressed, have suffered a loss, or are disenchanted with their latest conquest, they look for new narcissistic supplies. Right. So when they love bomb you and they've sucked you in and they pull you in, it may be, and there may be some codependency here. Again, there's a lot to this, but I'm speaking from my own experience with this, is that there's almost a codependency, like they become dependent on you, or they give you the feeling that they're dependent on you and really want you. And you say, hey, I can tell maybe they have low self-esteem, or I can tell that that they need support. And so I start supporting them. Or we start supporting them and saying, hey, no, everything's fine, man. I got you. Like, we got this. We can do this. We're a team. And they draw you in that way. Others, they just come right in and say, wow, you're amazing. And there's lots of little different concepts. But the love bombing portion of it can happen in a multitude of ways. It for men specifically, a lot of it feeds their ego by telling them they're awesome, they're great, I appreciate you, I really like you, I want to sleep with you and be physical with you a lot, you're a great lover, you're a great boyfriend, compliment, compliment, compliment. Now the reverse may be true for men. To women, although men that say, wow, you're amazing, I'm going to sleep with you all the time, women are like, yeah, you're a man, of course you do. But from a men, it might be more like gifts or special dinners or bragging about them to all their friends. The trick of this is, though, in many cases, they'll say, oh, I told all my friends about you. They say that you're awesome and you sound great. You make a wonderful girlfriend. Truth is, they may have never told anyone about you, because it's kind of weird to say, oh, this is my future partner and I'm very much in love with this person. And then 2 weeks later, you're out being seen with somebody else. So very rarely will they actually post a lot on social media about you, maybe in the beginning, but oftentimes they'll keep the relationship to themselves. They say, rather than confidence, I already read that. Many narcissists employ seduction, engage in game playing, and use relationships for self-enhancement. Dating is intense and moves quickly. The attention can be dizzying, exciting, and exciting to the recipient. There's frequently excessive communication, reflecting bombers' needs for affirmation, usually by text or social media, where they can exercise more control at a distance. And again, you can see it's dizzyingly, excitingly to the recipient. Now, I didn't look at all of JP's tweets. Let me get rid of that. I don't need that. I didn't look at all JP's tweets just because I'm really not into it, but or into them, I should say. But let me see if I can find. Let me see if it'll open up, or if it'll ask me to log in. There we go. All right. So on this is his, and there's him proposing. There's him with some other family members. It's a lot of him with other people. Here's her and her dog. There's them together. There's them together. Him alone, him with a dog, them together. So it looks like it's been going on for a while. He certainly seems to be pleased with her and enjoying time with her. Let's see what hers looks like. The reason why I'm curious is because I'm curious to see if it's like, okay, there's them together, her and her friend. Interview, same group photo, her alone, group photo, her, group photo. Okay, so yeah, she seems to be including a lot of photos and a lot of him on social media. Now, what about before him? Let's see, when is this? This is going back to, this is 15 weeks ago, which is 3-4 months ago. Her, person, her. So it'll be interesting to see if it goes back to being just her or if she keeps him involved in that. But she is putting him on social media, so there's something to say for that. They say idealization and devaluation for a narcissist. It's not enough to be liked or appreciated. It only counts when the other person has status or highly valued qualities such as wealth, beauty, special talents, power, celebrity, or genius. Narcissists idealize prospective partners to augment their own lack of self-esteem. The thinking is, if I can win over the admiration of this very attractive person, then I must be worthy. Now, again, just using Lahren as an example, newscaster, TV personality, former baseball player, good-looking guy. Her previous guy, I think, was like former, I don't know, hockey player, former something or other, tall, good-looking, successful guy. Again, we can, and you know, she's a successful, pretty woman, so you could say, well, likes her versus likes for that. But they go on to say codependent versus healthy love. Intense attraction feels anxiety. This is for the codependent part. Idealize and ignore differences, fall in love, make commitments, get to know each other, become disappointed, cling to a romantic fantasy of love, try to change the partner into ideal, and feel resented and unloved. And healthy love is literally the opposite of all of that. They continue on. As reality creeps into the relationship, they discover their partner is inadequate or fear that they're flawed. Empty self will revealed as expectations for emotional intimacy increase. Any slight or imagined chink in the ideal image of their partner feels painful. As narcissists' vision of their perfect partner deteriorates, their hidden shame increasingly causes discomfort. They in turn project this onto their partner, whom they criticize and devalue. This is particularly true of perfectionist narcissists. When their partner's luster fades, they no longer provide a satisfactory object to boost the love bomber's self-esteem. They discard their partner and look elsewhere for a new source of narcissistic supply. When relationships with narcissists endure, the partner feels drained, hurt, resentful, and lonely. Disrespect and lack of caring damage to their self-esteem over time. Now, here's something else, too. You know, we've talked about how women are filing for divorce between 60 and 80% of the time. What's interesting, so women file more often, right? And I believe that the study was when a woman gets a promotion, a raise, or becomes more successful than the husband. In other words, if she was less successful than he was and she jumps over him, they file for divorce close to 90% of the time, or they break up 90% of the time. Why? Listen to this paragraph they just said. This is particularly true of perfectionist narcissistics. When their partner's luster fades, they no longer provide a satisfactory object to boost the love bomber's self-esteem. They discard their partner and look elsewhere for a new source of narcissistic supply. They always want somebody that is better than them, again, because they say, well, if I can win this person's affection or love, or they want me, it makes me feel better about myself. It's validation because it boosts me. Well, what happens when you get a raise and you're promoted and the person you're with is lower status than you? Well, now they're lucky to have you. It doesn't give you the narcissistic supply, so they move on. They say attachment styles. Narcissists have insecure attachment styles that are either avoidant or anxious or some combination. People with insecure attachment styles feel a basic insecurity stemming from relationships with early caregivers. They doubt the reliability of others to satisfy their emotional needs and base their self-esteem on the behavior and responses of others. One study showed that people with insecure attachment styles were more likely to engage in love bombing. Now, you know, if we looked at that Instagram on Tomi Lahren, now that she's met him and they're engaged, she's showing pictures of herself with him. But before that, if you look, it was selfie, 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 glamour, 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 selfie, right? All pictures of herself. It's because, again, it's, oh, I don't feel pretty today. I'm not getting a lot of attention today. Feeling cute today. Might delete this later, as the joke goes. And they'll post a selfie, and then they go, oh, all the replies are, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so lovely. Oh, I wish, oh, you're so great. And that fills their narcissistic supply meter. Now that she's met a guy, now she's getting a lot of narcissistic supply of, oh, you guys are such a cute couple. Oh, he's amazing. Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, congratulations on the engagement. And then it'll be congratulations on the wedding. And then it'll be congratulations on the kid. But what happens after all of that? There's not a whole lot of congratulations left. So if they still need that narcissistic supply and they don't get it from their partner anymore, they either leave the partner or it goes back to selfie, selfie, selfie with baby, selfie with baby. Where's the guy in all of this? He's gone. He's gone. He's not going to be around in the picture anymore. And again, how can you say this, you're the greatest love of my life, you mean more to me than anything in the world, best friend, Team Lahren? You've been dating 8 months. So you're saying that in 8 months you fell in love with this guy much more than the previous guy you were dating and married or getting ready to be married to and all of that? Well, what happened to that then? So he dodged a bullet because if you met this guy, you would have loved him more than the other one. What happened if you got married, Tommy, to the previous guy? Would you have met this guy and been like, wow, I wish I hadn't gotten married. This guy's even better. That's what you're saying. See, again, it's, I'm telling you. They go down a little bit further. They talk about codependent partners and different solutions. I'll tell you now the solution. Watch for red flags. Know this is what they're doing to you. And do not get emotionally involved right away. Let them love bomb you. Take it and make the assumption that they're love bombing you. Make the assumption they're not being real with you. Make the assumption that they're lying to you. Be nice. If you're in a relationship with them, be nice. Date them. And when they say, oh, you're the most special person in the world ever, you say, hey, I'm really glad we're together and this is really going someplace great. But if you get a lot of the, do you love me too? And how do you feel about me? And am I super special to you as well? You can say, yeah, you're special to me. But take time with your heart, take time with your emotions getting into it. Because if you go all in, you may get yourself into some trouble. That's something to be aware of. And they need you to go all in. And if you don't, then either A, they're legitimate and they'll keep on being a good person to you, and then you can start opening yourself up to it a little bit. Or B, they'll get bored of you. You're not narcissistic supply. They'll get bored of you, they'll discard you, and they'll move on. Either way, you're not emotionally hurt, right? The way you get emotionally hurt is you get sucked in. Like I said, men that think emotionally and not logically are doomed for failure. It's just a bad combination for men. Think with your head, not with your heart. It's better to think with both heads than it is your heart. I'm just saying, because that's what leads to catastrophe. All right, for those of you that are here on YouTube, guys, join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com. I do much different topics over there. I talk in depth about other things because YouTube does not let me talk about a lot of things. I do dating profiles of the day over there. And you don't have to become a supporter to see my videos. Just become a member over there and check it out. Some videos I do for supporters only. But we've got free speech forums. It's a great place to hang out. So join me over on betterbachelor.locals.com, and we appreciate it. And I'll leave it here.